A lot of people love to have answers or reassurance or just a sense of foresight when it comes to their lives. I personally crave reassurance wherever I can get it. So
Constantly.
I'm in this camp. And tarot is a way to get that in some ways.
I agree. And I am 110% on board for this episode. I cannot wait to learn more about tarot. I've been wanting to for a long time. All right, let's go.
All right. Well, I think what might surprise people to learn, though, is that tarot started as a game.
Huh?
This ain't your average hoop and stick, but it was a pretty fun game. And now it's a very personal experience.
I'm very surprised by that. I did not know. I thought it was always like a spiritual tool. I did not realize it was a game. And now I double want to know all about it.
And now all of a sudden, the competitive person in you is like ready to play tarot.
I'm ready to
play.
Again. I'm ready to win, actually.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rituals, a Spotify original from Parcast. I'm Em Schultz.
And I'm Christine Schieffer. And every week, we'll explore the evolution of spiritualism and the occult through stories, practices, and the impact on modern culture.
I cannot wait to talk some of this through with you, Christine. I know both of us are big fans of tarot, even if our, I guess, level of knowledge or expertise is kind of always waxing and waning, but
fluctuating.
If it were to come up organically at a party, though, I would certainly gravitate toward that group of people, I think.
Agreed. And if it were a tarot party, you and I would probably be hosting the tarot party. Let's be real.
And we would invite all of the more experienced people to like do our tarot.
To read our cards.
We would be asking labor of our guests, 100%. We've both been big on tarot, gifting tarot decks to each other, or, you know, I know there's always like tchotchkes with tarot pictures on it and things like that. They always come up on my feed. You have your one laptop sticker I love that has the coffee on it or something.
Oh, yes. I have some Etsy shops that I love, or some, Redbubble and that kind of thing that make tarot designs just for decor. So I have the coffee, I have the wine. I once gave Eva the margarita. So there's a lot. You could do a lot with tarot.
I feel like there's a range of like items you could get for tarot, because I certainly fall into the campy novelty tchotchke side, which is probably really embarrassing in tarot world. But then there's also certain decks that do different things. I mean, it really runs the gamut. So
I love it all.
Let's crack into it. For as often as we talk about tarot, we mention it all the time in our personal lives and That's Why We Drink, but I don't think we've ever really gone in depth about it together. Do you have an opinion about tarot? I don't think I've ever asked it.
You know, that's a good question. I've never really asked myself, except I do know that
I feel the same way. I think you and I have briefly talked about this, in that we're both really fascinated by tarot and we're both really interested in it, but we've never really put the energy and time it takes to really dig deep and learn it. Maybe I'm waiting on the next hyperfixation to do that. I'm not sure. Preach. First of all, it's a great way to put it that I haven't asked myself, because I think I just knew immediately I was on board.
Yeah.
And I also knew I didn't know a lot about it, but I knew I was like, team, let's do tarot whenever you want. I don't know the art of tarot at all. I've tried to learn what all the cards mean, and even on a very elementary level, to people out there with more expertise, I think they would think that it's like a rudimentary basics. It overwhelms me. It's
overwhelming. Yeah.
I've tried to commit. And again, like you said, I would love for my hyperfixations to kick in at any moment, and then I could fully dedicate myself to this.
Yeah. I actually bought my first tarot deck when I was, I think 13. I saved up my money and went to a local bookstore and bought it.
Ooh.
And so I have that original one. It was like a Rider-Waite deck. But since I've collected them, I have so many of them, and I'm like slightly ashamed because I have so many of them, and I'm like, I really should take the time to sit down and actually do more than just cursory card reading. So maybe that's what this episode will inspire me to do.
I feel like half the things you just said I could also apply to my Pokemon card collection, where it's like I just have so many of them, so many decks. I don't know what to do with them, but a cursory look is fine every now and then. Where do you stand on how accurate tarot
cards are. I mean, I know neither of us have a lot of experience, but
yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in energy, and I feel that, what you put into it is what you get out of it. And I think I've had a few tarot readings that have really changed my perspective and were really accurate. And I think that's what it boils down to is, it's not an exact science, but each card, means something to the person reading and to the person being read. Actually, weirdly, this kind of just occurred to me. I don't know how this didn't occur to me. I was scrolling through TikTok as I got ready for this recording, probably an hour ago. And all of a sudden it was like on my screen, this woman was reading tarot, and she said, if this is on your For You page, you were meant to see this today. And I want to give you a 3-card spread. And she read my spread. And of course it said, it was what you want people to see you as, what people do see you as, and, what you're going through right now. And number 2, what people see you as. She goes, oh, the hermit. And I was like, all right, well, message received, my friend. Thank you.
And honestly, the TikTok algorithm has done a lot for me. So I would trust a tarot reading from TikTok at
Absolutely.
this point. I'm on the fence whether or not I fully can commit to the results of a tarot card reading. I feel like it's just perfectly vague enough that I feel like the skeptical in me comes out with tarot cards because it is so...
Since when? That's amazing. This is the first time you've been... People, write this down. This is the first time.
I think because it requires me to look within and like it becomes a moment of self-actualization. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I feel like it's perfectly vague enough that you could always find a way to read into the meaning of tarot or read into the specific cards. So, because I feel like every card has a positive or a negative or a this or a that. And so it's easy to, in my mind, I think because I'm so ignorant to what the cards mean, I could trick myself very quickly into feeling like I got a full message, but maybe I didn't.
But maybe that's the beauty of it, It's like you're reading into it, but that's the point.
Maybe.
I've had a few tarot readings, and Eva actually read my cards she did a live. Eva is our lovely producer and friend, and she read our tarot cards at one point on an Instagram live just for fun. And she read my cards. She had this, of course, a cat tarot deck that I think you might have given her.
Sounds right.
And she was like, oh, this one's about like fertility and all this stuff. And I was pregnant and nobody knew. And she was getting dangerously close to kind of outing
you.
Yeah. And she was like, oh, this is about like giving life and like new beginnings and new, and it was becoming very, very clear that I needed to steer the conversation away. And so later I told her, like, she was like, I was afraid to say anything. I didn't want to just go there, but that's what I was thinking in my head. And I was like, well, that's what it was. I was pregnant. Nobody knew.
I think that was the time I probably believed in tarot the most because I had already had my suspicions you were pregnant. And then she said that. And I was like, you know what? This justifies what I believe already. So let's go with it.
This cat drawing told me
like,
so.
These little kitty cat tarots, they know what they're up to. In terms of like the history of tarot, do you know anything about tarot? I didn't up until recently.
No, until about 30 seconds ago, I did not know it was a game originally, which is very fun. I mean, it makes sense that it's a deck of cards, that it would be a game. But I know the Rider-Waite is like the classic. From what I know, which I don't know if this is true, but I always learned that your first deck of tarot cards should be gifted to you. Too bad I bought them for myself, so I don't know if that ruined anything or changed the energy or what have you. But
it's just the first deck, not all of them?
Yeah, the first deck, at least is what I learned, that the first deck is meant to be gifted to you, and then the rest you can buy for yourself.
I was going to say, I don't know a lot about tarot, but one of the only things I know is things you've told me, such as being gifted tarot cards.
Such as facts that might be not true. So that's good for both of us.
It feels sweet. It feels kind. So
it feels like a listener actually told me that because I mentioned it, and then they mailed me a deck of tarot cards and said, here you go. Like, now you have a gifted set. And that was very kind. But yeah, so I don't know. Do you know had you known any of the history behind it?
I didn't know the history. The only thing I really knew about tarot cards at all is that the cards can have several meanings. So like if you pull the death card, it doesn't mean now you die.
Right.
Which I feel like is a good thing to know in terms of the bare basics, because if I
talk about, important knowledge.
I have pulled the death card and been like, uh-oh.
From what I learned, hermit actually is pretty spot on, because this woman on TikTok was like, you're withdrawing a little bit. And I was like, yeah, that fits. Hermit, me. Yep. Sounds good.
Well, now that we are aware that neither of us know a whole lot, I guess we should really get into the meat and potatoes of this.
I mean, teach me.
The meat and potatoes. No.
Oh, that's a terrible name for like an Etsy shop or something. You should probably not create that.
By the way, speaking of Etsy shops and tarot, lots of fun can be found over there.
Lots
so
of
have
fun.
a good time.
Yep.
All right, so here we go. The tarot cards are often associated with the occult today, but originally they were just a card game. Which I love going into this immediately. Like, can you imagine if a different card game was the one that became the...
Good point.
Imagine if like spoons was just like what every occultist, you need that in your starter deck.
You need to collect 6 spoons to put in the middle of the group. It actually does sound kind of occulty. But what about if it were like Go Fish and it was like Go Fish, the new ritual?
Can you imagine if it were Old Maid and then there was like some sort of ritual with the Old Maid? I don't know.
Honestly, this is all kind of fitting. Like I could kind of see all of this working as an occult ritual.
The tarot card origin likely comes from northern Italy during the late 14th or early 15th century.
Okay.
And the cards were used to play a card game called tarocchi.
Okay.
And the images on the card, by the way, which I think is fun, were inspired by costumes in carnival parades.
Oh, so there was a hermit running around.
I feel like if I were around back in the day, there'd be a sassy card, I think, today.
Sassy the clown running around. Yep.
For those who don't know, I was once a performing clown. Okay, moving on quickly.
It was about time that this show brought that up. We needed to get there eventually.
I think this would be episode 4 or 5, which is where it happened on, and that's why we drink too. So
true.
Who's to say? So yeah, I thought that was really interesting because I was always like, who came up with the imagery here?
Yeah.
And now we've got an answer to that. So back then, everything was hand painted. So the cards were very expensive. I mean, you're literally, however big the deck was, it's just a bunch of tiny, professionally done portraits.
Right. Like full on paintings. That's a lot of work.
So you're basically paying for, I don't know, 70, 60 little pieces of art all at once.
I would just hang them all over my house and be like, oh, I thought this was artwork.
Christine, that's so smart. If I could ever get my hands on like an old vintage version of, 14th century, 15th century.
This is my original 14th century Sassy the Clown card. This is my hermit from Italy.
But if I could get like a whole deck, I would totally want to do something like frame.
Be a pretty cool artwork piece, I would say.
It would certainly be very expensive. And it explains too why the game tarocchi was very popular with wealthy families and nobles.
Oh, I see. So when I said, I would have put it on my walls, I wouldn't have because I was probably not a wealthy noble.
No. And also they were probably like, we paid good money to play this game.
Don't tape that to the wall.
Can you imagine being the artist who is taking, backbreaking work, painting all these little things just to know it's going to go to some like rich elites, probably going to spill wine on it the first time around, get drunk, lose a card, I can't imagine. I'd be so over it so quickly. So when the Italian aristocracy played with the cards, their version, here's the fun part, involved writing poetic verses about each other.
That seems like a lot of work for a card game.
It's very similar to MASH.
My favorite.
I love MASH.
Me too.
For those who don't know what MASH is, Mansion, Apartment, Shack House, as it's formerly known, I guess. If you'd never played MASH growing up, I highly suggest you let it distract you in classes and in meetings now. It was like a prediction game where you would write down a list of your favorite, celebrities you had a crush on, or maybe someone in school you had a crush on, your favorite cars, favorite jobs, favorite pets. You pick a number
of kids, or
color. You'd pick, usually you would get 3 per category. And then there was always a million different ways that you ended up figuring out what number you landed on. But let's say you landed on 7. You'd count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, scratch it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, scratch out the option. And eventually,
you're like, oh no, Freddie Prinze Jr. is no longer my husband. And they cross him off, and then you keep going. Yeah.
And eventually you figure out where you were living, a mansion, apartment, shack, or house, like plain old house, and all the other things. So I always got shack without question. Always.
You're not technically in a shack now, but you do have a cockroach problem. So I guess kind of.
It feels about the same, yeah. All this to talk about tarocchi, which basically was very early MASH. It was also kind of a combo with bridge. That bridge was involved too. But basically, you would pull a card at random or be handed a card at random. And based on the picture, you would write down what you thought that picture represented for their future. And it was a very early version of MASH. So
fun.
And the Italian version, poems and all, eventually spread through Europe, including to southern France, where it was officially renamed tarot. Also in tarot today, there's cups, swords, pentacles, wands. Do you know what the original 4 suits were?
Oh, I don't.
So they always had cups and swords, but there was also coins, which I guess became pentacles, and polo sticks, which sounds very aristocratic, yes?
Yes.
And it became wands, I am assuming.
Polo stick. Oh my, wow, that's powerful stuff right there.
So jump to the late 1700s, where Frenchman Jean-Baptiste Alliette, he published the first definitive guide to tarot card reading and using tarot cards for divination.
Ooh, okay, got it.
Divination being a term you'll hear, that's simply the idea of connecting to your higher self. So this allowed for tarot readings to take off.
The thing you're not really into, the self-reflection.
Yeah, the having to look within. I'll do it if I have to, but I already don't like games. And now if I'm going to game night and someone's saying this is going to be a really moving experience, I don't think I want it.
It's a game. It's my dream. Like, this sounds like my dream game night. And for you, it's like your personal hell.
Like, I will order the pizza and then I'll eat the pizza and then I'll leave. But hey, props, I guess, to capitalist Jean-Baptiste Alliette, who saw the opportunity of like, oh, all these really rich people are playing this silly little game about predictions. Can you imagine if they thought it was real and just ran
what
with
if we changed these polo sticks to something a little more accessible to other people? And then we can just...
a little more magical, maybe.
A little more magical, and we can just spread this around.
So far, what are your thoughts on the origin of tarot?
I'm surprised. I really am. I thought it was always a more, sorcery-based, like, divination tool. I really did, and I think I'm surprised that... Well, I'm very surprised by polo sticks. I think that's my new fun fact at parties when no one asks me for a fun fact.
Hey, me too.
Yeah, I love that. But I'm surprised, and I'm a little bit like... I don't know. It shakes my understanding of tarot a little bit, I think.
Doesn't it, though?
It
makes me all of a sudden wonder, like, so it came from a game, in which case, like, not to be that, I'm just talking as if I were, like, my father or something. I'd be like, oh, so I can play Candyland, and all of a sudden I know my future.
Right. Chutes and ladders, you push me down a slide, and now we know.
Chutes and ladders could also be very telling if we wanted it to be. The ups and downs of life, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Coming up, what started with Jean-Baptiste Alliette continues to evolve to this day. We'll talk about how tarot became what we know of it now.
I cannot wait to hear the modern take on tarot.
So as for the evolution of tarot, we have Jean-Baptiste Alliette out of France in the late 1700s, publishing the first real guide to tarot card reading.
Our favorite capitalist, as you called him.
It might be capitaliste over there.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Jean-Baptiste, I don't know.
You're completely right.
In case you look this all up later, Alliette published under the pseudonym Itea, which was his last name backwards.
Now that is fun.
I love that he he doesn't think that far with his business plans. He's like, oh, this thing already exists. Let's now make money on it. Also, I don't know what to name it, so it's going to be by my own last name.
But I wonder, too, if it's like, oh, I want to distance myself from this, but only a little bit, because if this goes well, and then I can take credit by saying, oh, no, that's just my name backwards.
He also released with this definitive guide. It was kind of like a whole package. So you would get the guide. Oh. He released a deck of tarot cards with the book and gave meaning to each card that incorporated astronomy and the 4 elements.
Genius.
Wait, there's more. He also assigned a specific order to the cards and ways to spread them out, whether forwards or backwards, which some tarot readers still use today. I gotta be honest, that part I will never understand when cards are
throws me off.
Officially, I tap out when they're like, oh, well, the card's reversed. I'm like, how do you know? Is it reversed towards you or towards me?
Is it facing you? Is it facing them? Thank you, Em. I have this problem every time, and it's probably a very easy answer, but I just can't wrap my brain around it.
You could tell me to my face what the answer is, and I will forget it in 30 seconds.
And honestly, I'm sure I have, and I'm sure you have, and I'm sure Eva has, and we just can't get it.
I'll never understand it. It really just completely spoils the taste in my mouth. I try so hard to remember, and it's just one of those things that just flops out of my brain every time. Basically, he created today's entire tarot industry in the general rule book that I think people still probably bounce off of. So,
you know what? I'm really proud of him for that.
Here's my favorite part, though. In 1789, Alliette released a new deck of tarot cards only for supernatural use.
What?
That's where I'm putting my money. So that's probably more of what we see today in tarot cards. So this deck it had 78 cards organized into the major and minor arcanas. So that was the first time we really saw that, as it was more for supernatural prediction use.
Okay. Oh, I see, for divination and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the major arcana cards apparently held the big secrets of spiritual awareness.
Ooh.
With cards including the Magician, the Fool, the Wheel of Fortune, the Moon, and the Sun. Plus, they also had concepts including strength, justice, judgment, temperaments, and death, which, by the way, does not always mean death, just to remind people.
We've learned that.
They're cards we still hear about today. And the major arcana also had cards that featured suits, numbered, and court cards that held smaller secrets of everyday life. And speaking of major and minor arcana, I did a little bit of an accidental deep dive, and I decided to take a quiz on astrology answers to see which major arcana cards our personalities are.
Oh, so you took a personality quiz. This is fun. On my behalf, even.
I sure did. I answered the questions as what I think you would say.
I love that. You probably know me better than I know myself, so I trust you wholeheartedly.
I think there was only like one or two I was like waffling between two answers, but I think I answered it pretty well for you.
Oh, I can't wait.
Anyway, I took the quiz. What major arcana card are you? I am the devil, if you couldn't guess.
No, you're not.
I sure am. First try.
Of course you are.
Apparently what that means, if you break it down, is that I have determination, focus, and strong basic instincts, and I have an awareness of my drives, desires, and doubts. So that's nice.
That seems...
I'm a strong little fella. I don't know.
For someone who doesn't like to look within, that seems like false. But okay, I'll give it to you.
I'm not going to negotiate this.
Am I the fool?
No, I wish you were. I was really hoping for that.
I thought I was going to be the fool.
And now, in hindsight, I really wish you were the hermit, too. But you ended up getting the moon, which is very fun.
I love the moon.
According to this, you are intuitive, emotional, and have powerful insight and the ability to sense things, all which are very true. And here's another thing. Christine, here's another thing that's very true.
Uh-oh.
Here's a quote about the moon from Astrology Answers. You imagine all kinds of drama and crises in your head, which are usually all unfounded. And I was like, yeah, that's right.
Emma's like, I'm going to sip my drink and just let Christine soak that in, because that is what she does all the time.
Maybe you needed a little self-actualization, but I was like, you know what? I like where we're heading. I'm going to 100% bank on you being the moon, because that was a little too close to home for me.
And I don't even want to even take this quiz ever again, because I think you nailed it.
I think I did too. If you use the tarot cards today, you may know the Rider-Waite deck, which you already mentioned, which came out in December 1909.
Oh, I didn't realize it was so old.
Me either. I thought it was like 40s, 50s, but
me too.
I was wrong. Arthur Edward Waite created his own version of the tarot with rectified symbolism and got Pamela Coleman Smith to illustrate the cards. It's the first tarot with illustrated minors, aka the numbers, like we see in normal suits of cards. So like the 1 of cups, 2 of...
Okay, I got you.
Here's a fun fact that I don't think I knew. When laid out together, all of these cards tell an illustrated story. Did you know this?
Oh, like the whole deck?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
did you know
I
this?
did not know. I'm just the moon. I'm up here. I'm just creating drama in my own head. I don't know what's going on down there.
I like how you could have had, whatever, an unfounded crisis. You could have been like, if I put all the cards together, maybe they tell a story. And we would have been like, sure, Christine. Sure.
Yes, that sounds right, Christine.
It was actually true. I can't wait to go whip out one of these tarot decks I have at home now and try to
absolutely
see what's going on over here. Okay. In 1970, U.S. Game Systems bought the rights to these cards from Waite's family. So here's a fun fact for you too. The original first edition of the Rider-Waite cards, there's only 5 known copies left out there.
Oh.
So if you happen to be a card collector of the tarot, then now you've got a task. Now you've got an eBay to search for.
Oh my goodness. Forget Pokemon cards.
Forget Pokemon cards. I would love a first edition 1 of 5 in existence.
Ooh.
And of course, since the 70s, our culture has seen shifts and challenges, and tarot has evolved with the times. So when we got into the 2000s, tarot got a new life from artists who were able to create their own deck thanks to digital publishing. And I mean, I love that we're living in this era where, since the 2000s at least, there's just a whole bunch of novelty tarot cards we can get. I have a Pokemon deck.
I was waiting to bring that one up.
I love when I can play with my Pokemon cards and my Pokemon cards all at the same time.
Pokemon cards can tell a story about your Pokemon cards. I have Eva gave me a Lisa Frank deck that I love. You know, there's really an option for everybody.
Actually, I just saw last night on Etsy, there's a Lisa Frank holographic deck.
Well, now.
And now my wallet's in trouble. I would also love a Marvel deck or like a black light glow in the dark situation. You can find them all. I mean, again, loving that we're in this era of tarot.
Absolutely.
A lot of modern decks stem from the empowerment of LGBTQ+, POC, and other marginalized communities.
You know, that's a couple of our listeners have mailed me tarot decks, and they are all so just powerful. Like, I don't even, like, I still have my Rider-Waite deck, and I cherish it because it was my first purchase, my first tarot purchase. But the ones that I've received as gifts that have been like handcrafted by or hand designed by some of our listeners that have different people of color in the drawings, and they're just much more empowering and feminist and awesome. So I feel like it adds such a level of, I don't know, it makes them feel more powerful.
I also appreciate a lot. I feel like a lot of people who use tarot cards see themselves as some version of healers. And so it's such a nice collaboration of, you know, coming up with more inclusive or welcoming versions of a deck, well, in healing in one way while healing in another. So
that is a beautiful point, Em.
Jericho Mandiber created Neo Tarot in 2019, which is a more inclusive deck that Jericho says comes from a healing place of, quote, radical queer understanding.
Wow. I mean,
a Team Jericho over here.
I was going to say, it won me over with 3 words.
Radical queer understanding. That's the three words that like my grandparents would flee from. So she takes a psycho-spiritual approach, which revolves around, this is a quote, revolves around intersectionality, self-care, emotional processing, freedom of choice, and personal liberation.
I'm not even exaggerating. I feel like a little tear coming to my eye. That's so powerful.
Here's another one, though. When the Black Lives Matter movement was in full force in June 2020, self-proclaimed tarot geek Kalila Dews saw a way to help her community and offered free tarot readings to Black people paid for by donations from white people.
Take my money.
Take my money. That was smartest business move I've heard of in a million years.
Forget capitalist, what's his face. I love this, and I love how people are taking this and, like, just like you said, using it for healing. It's just beautiful.
Honestly, I haven't heard of a tarot deck I want to buy more, or a tarot community I want to be more a part of, because between
or tarot reader I want to support. That's just so powerful.
And after the pandemic was going on that same year, more people were looking for places to find spiritual guidance, and tarot was one of those outlets. So U.S. Game Systems said business took off with a 30% increase in tarot card sales worldwide.
That's a big. I like that they bought it, right? They bought tarot from the Rider-Waite. I love that. That's just kind of a little humble brag, like, oh, us pandemic. Oh, yeah, just a little slight 30% increase in sales.
Our business went pretty well, I guess.
I guess it's okay.
I mean, honestly, I bet a lot of those sales were for spiritual guidance, but I feel like a lot of them might have also just been we were all stuck at home, and maybe every single person like you and me who are waiting to have a reason to like really commit to learning the craft. They're all like, well, I'm bored and inside.
We picked up new hobbies during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We looked for spiritual guidance, so I get that.
A self-care splurge. We don't know.
Self-care, 100%. Also, I feel like supporting, I mean, I guess if you're buying it from U.S. Game Systems, they probably are, you know, it's not the same as the Etsy versions, but I bet people were supporting, you know, artists, and people were doing their work from home, and people were buying more creative approaches to tarot.
So true.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
I know we've talked a little bit about your own Rider-Waite deck, but do you have any tarot card sets that personally mean a lot to you? Or what are your current decks these days, since you've got so many of them?
You know, I really am mad at myself for not really going through. As you know, I live in a state of constant upheaval and chaos all around. And so I have tarot decks. I think you even mentioned this at one point to me, that you have tarot decks kind of scattered about. And I do too, but
I hide them.
Not in an intentional way. It's more just like, oops, I left it here.
They're under my bed. No, I intentionally hide my tarot decks because then I feel like it's a gift when I find them again. And then
it's like a surprise.
I feel like it gives me a little sign of like, hey, maybe you should do your tarot today. So that's
nice.
I thrive with self rewards. So
yes,
usually I'm a big, we've talked about this a million times on, and that's why I drink, but I buy myself gifts in advance. I buy them so far in the future that when they show up, I'm always surprising myself. And
you have forgotten.
I've forgotten, or I do a lot of things. I'm very treat motivated if I were a golden retriever, I guess. And so a lot of times I'll hide things and surprise myself. I like to leave like a $20 bill in a pants pocket and then put the pants all the way in the back of a dresser and, things like that. So anyway, tarot cards have somehow inserted their way into that world. But my favorite one right now is the Pokemon deck that Eva got me for Christmas.
It's such a good one.
And
you know what my favorite is? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just remembered, and I don't want to forget. Eva, always the purchaser of tarot cards in our friend group, I suppose, but for Christmas bought Leona a tarot deck for kids for my daughter. So that one's really special to me right now because I feel like that's something, maybe that'll be the time when I'm finally able to like focus and learn it, is when I'm learning it with my child.
You can have a mommy and me tarot date where you both self-actualize together and you'll be like, Leona, someone's been pooping a lot.
Leona,
what are we feeling today? I don't know. Let's look at the stars, see what happens.
I'm the moon. Don't forget it.
I'm the sun. Make sure she knows that.
I'm the sun. And M is the devil.
Okay, well, she'll learn that soon enough. I think my other most prized deck is it was my first one and it was gifted to me. It was my mom's from college.
Oh, I really like that because I feel like that also holds so much sentimentality behind it.
I think so too. Up next, after hearing that little bit of a tarot lesson, we'll guide you in the right direction if you're ready to give tarot a try.
I need you to guide me always and forever, please.
Let the devil guide you. So if you want to try tarot, there's a few steps to start with. So first, choose your deck. Which one are we going with in this hypothetical, Christine?
Wow. Let's go with your Pokemon one. I like that idea.
Love that. Love that. So choose your deck. The classic option being the Rider-Waite deck. And most decks you find online will be a version of Rider-Waite.
Makes sense.
If you want a more modern take with an emphasis on self-care, healing, and empowerment, you can choose like the Neo Tarot deck. Or if you love a good tchotchke like I do, you can just rock with the Pokemon one. I mean, personally, I would say whichever one feels right. I mean, I don't know if that's... I don't know if people with more experience than me would say that that's actually correct or not, but I would imagine whatever's calling out to you in the moment is the one you should play with. Next, you want to choose your space. You want a calm, healthy environment, maybe burn incense. I know, we've never seen that. Maybe burn incense or candles, set out your crystals, or just get comfy. And it's also about your headspace. So trying to meditate before reading your cards. That way you have a clear mind going into it. What does that space look like for you if you're going to have a calm, healthy environment? What in the world would that look like?
Oh, well, I made where I'm sitting right now, my podcast studio /room/office is probably my most, it's just like the only space in my house that's like all mine. And it has basically all the fun things you have gifted me is mostly what's everywhere.
You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. My crystals. I have a little like window seat. I have my fainting couch. I have all sorts
You do have quite the witchy cottage of a room. Like
thank you. That's what I was going for. Thank you.
It feels modern witchy cottage in the best ways.
That is the biggest compliment I could have gotten. So that's probably where I would be. And it's also on the 3rd floor. So it's definitely far away from everybody, which is nice. What about you?
Anytime I need to focus, I usually have to drown out everything with white noise because my brain's always going a million miles an hour. So usually I play thunderstorms, like the thunderstorm sound app, or I turn off the lights. Maybe I turn on a candle or like a little light source somewhere, but like not the overhead lights. Apparently my calm space is feeling like I'm in a storm with a power outage or something. Because it also that happens to be the same routine I have to make myself fall asleep. So I think to me, being calm is getting sleepy and cozy.
I mean, it makes sense.
Makes sense to me. So now as for the basic knowledge, take time to learn the basics, which I feel like you and I have tried on and off with. And don't stress about knowing the meaning of each card. Just pick cards, look at them, and allow the meaning to come to you, which I appreciate that that's the way that it works, because it really does take away some of the intimidation of being in
the anxiety of being wrong, quote unquote. Yeah,
exactly. So there are plenty of online resources, and some decks come with a guide. Maybe if you go all the way back to like the 17th century, you'll find the OG definitive deck.
How many polo sticks did I get today? That's what I want to know.
So if you are more interested in growing and becoming more in-depth with tarot, there's a lot of resources out there. And as your skills grow, so will the complexities of your knowledge, but don't rush yourself. So I do really appreciate that it says, hey, when you don't understand a lot of it, if the meaning still comes to you, it still comes to you. And as you get better, the cards will get more detailed, and it's like it grows with you almost.
I love that. And I've heard from tarot readers who've said the cards mean something, like the cards mean things to me personally that I can read.
Yeah.
Like, especially with like a certain deck. And I think that's really cool too, that, yeah, like you grow along with the deck and kind of create like a relationship with it.
100%. The thing that always overwhelms me about tarot, though, is creating the spread.
Me too.
So in your head, ask a question to the deck. Usually my question is, how do I put this spread together? No. It's usually something like, what will my day be like? Or what message do I need to hear today? And you could just pull one card from the deck and look up the meaning in the guidebook. But there's also some more advanced spreads. So an intermediate spread would be like a 3-card spread where you ask a question. It could be about like work or love or finance, and you pull 3 cards, past, present, future, or what they represent.
Okay.
And then I didn't know about this one, but there's apparently a weekly spread, which is now part of my Sunday night routine, where you pull 7 cards to represent each day of the week before turning the cards over.
Oh, I love that. And then 7th day is death. And you're like, oh, it doesn't mean death. It doesn't mean death.
Weirdly, my deck had 7 death cards and I just pulled all of them. Like, that's what happened. So anyway, those are just some of the advanced spreads. There's also lunar spreads that you can do depending on the time of the month. There's one called Release and Let Go, when you kind of try to think about the negative feelings you're currently having and trying to channel positive outcomes.
That's beautiful.
The one I always did whenever I would play with my tarot cards, I was taught the 10-card spread, which again, I don't have a lot of knowledge of each of the cards, so my answers were always pretty basic. But it was a 10-card spread where I think they were where you are now, the potential challenges, your strengths, and then there was like your past, present, future, how you feel about the situation, the outcome, your hopes and fears. So it had a little bit of everything.
That's the one I learned too. And that's probably why we're intimidated, because it was such a big leap into tarot. Like,
yeah, it was like I wanted to learn addition and someone gave me a long division question and I was like, whoa.
Exactly.
What? Yeah. Anyway, would you say that the 10-card spread is your favorite, or now that you've done a few of them, do you have a new favorite? Or
you know, I kind of like the idea of simplifying it a little bit and going to either like a 3-card spread. I even just pulling, which I've done before, pulling 1 card and seeing what that kind of says to me, or what the meaning behind that is for a question, or even just like how is there a message I'm to receive? I kind of like simplifying it and doing either a 3-card or, you know, just a single pull. The weekly I had not heard of either, so that might be a fun way to try it.
The weekly, again, I am motivated by rewards, and I would love to get through every day knowing that there's a new card to turn over at the end of the night about what's coming. I think that's super fun.
Well, I think, aren't you supposed to do 7 in a row? Like, oh, this is how your week's going to go? Or are you just going to do?
I'm a glutton for punishment also. So I think I would probably make myself wait it out every day just to be like.
Okay. You could do your own.
If I've already pulled the card, technically it's still going to be true if I don't touch it until the day of, right?
Oh, I see. Oh, you pull them and then you don't even look at them until I understand. Okay. Interesting.
Imagine you pour like your morning coffee, your morning tea, and then you like just flip over the card that you pulled on Sunday night about how today's going to go. And then you go, oh, mother. Ah!
Goes hermit. And I say, yay. And I go back to my bed.
that's tarot. What has your takeaway been on all of this?
I feel like I've been on a worldwide journey. I'm not kidding. I feel this has been very elucidating. Thank you for teaching me. I got a little like with the history, it felt a little bit cheated. Like, oh, what? This is just for like polo players back in the day. But I feel like it's really grown into its own. And the fact that like the symbolism has adapted and, you know, you can infuse your own meaning into it and your own energy. And I feel reinvigorated. And I think I might actually start my tarot learning. So thank you for teaching me.
You're welcome. Also, I do appreciate that it makes me feel like I never aged at all, because if tarot is just adult mash, I feel like a kid all over again.
Okay. If they had framed it like that to me, I would have hyperfixated on this a long
time ago.
Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back next week with another great episode.
Information on today's episode came from Slate, Bicycle Cards, Collectors Weekly, My Modern Met, The World of Playing Cards, Atlas Obscura, Vogue, and Biddy Tarot.
Remember to follow Rituals on Spotify to get a brand new episode every week. And you can listen to this and all other episodes of Rituals for free exclusively on Spotify.
And if you like this show, follow @Parcast on Facebook and Instagram and @Parcast Network on Twitter.
You can follow me @XTeenSchiefer.
And you can follow me @TheMSchultz. Thanks again for listening. See you next week. Rituals is executive produced by Max Cutler and is a Spotify original from Parcast. It was created by Max Cutler.
Sound design by Kristen Acevedo with associate sound design by Jamie Ryan.
Fact-checking by Cara Mackerline.
Research by Chelsea Wood.
It's produced by Kristen Acevedo and Jonathan Ratliff, with production assistance by Ron Shapiro.
We are your hosts, Christine Schiefer and M. Schultz.